All right, welcome to the stream, everybody. Thanks for being here today. Let's see here. Give me a moment. I'm moving stuff around. It just takes me a sec here. I'm going to talk about some exercises. We're going to do a little workout on these draw bends on a C harmonica today. So if you want to take a second and get that C harmonica warmed up and ready to go, I think this is a good way to, what I'm going to go through here today is it's a great little practice session that you could spend as little or as long as you wanted on it. I always say as long as you're focused, keep going. But if you start to lose focus, switch gears or stop, do short sessions. All right, I'm going to open up the video so I can see any chat going on. I'm happy to stop occasionally and take a couple questions if you want to ask anything. But again, I'll use a C harmonica, and I'm using an app on my phone today. So in conjunction with this C harmonica, I'm using this app. I think it's just called The Piano. It's on my iPhone. It was a free app. And it brings up the piano keyboard, which I think is a pretty important part if you really want to know where you're at and do this the right way by ear training them with these bends on the bottom of a C harmonica: 1 draw half step, 2 draw full step bend, 2 draw half step bend, 3 draw step and a half, full step and half step, and 4 bend, half step bend. You'll want to be able to hear that. So today I'll take, I'll use this little piano app to give you the note we're working on. So you'll hear that and you'll know I'll call it out. We'll talk about that 1 draw half step bend. And we're really working on a couple things, sustaining these bends and really trying to get control and accuracy over the intonation, the pitch that we're going for. Because it's very possible to go flat of that note or sometimes sharp of the note. Okay? So that's the deal. Good morning, everybody. All right. So C harmonica. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Also, I wouldn't mind just mentioning that there's a class coming up January 29th, Gary Primich Riffs class. I'll update the video description later. But if you dig what's going on today, check out the link I'm putting in the chat right now. That's an entire course that covers bending on a high level that doesn't do what we're doing here today. It's different. Some other exercises. What else? Coming up this Saturday, I'll be live streaming with my buddy Andrew Duncanson. So if you enjoy those live shows, the duo, the acoustics, probably acoustic, I'm guessing, we'll do it right here Saturday at 3 p.m. Central. So tune in for that. All right, let's do it. Let's start by talking about one quick thing, which is if you're still new to bending, one of my biggest tips is just relax on the airflow. Like, really treat these gently, and you'll find that it's easier to control these notes. So if you think about the notes we're going to talk about, right here on a C harmonica, C sharp, there's the F sharp to F, the F being the full step bend, and all these bends on the 3, and then back to that C sharp up here an octave above on the 4 draw. This is a lot, and this whole area starting at 2 full step bend allows you to move fully chromatically. So that's very important to recognize that. Starting on, like, let's see. Starting on 2 blow, just to let you kind of hear that. Let's start the F note right here. I just want you to hear what I'm about to do here is go F, F sharp, G, and so on, and play all the notes chromatically. It would just give you, so we go. I keep hitting the wrong thing, sorry. Right? And we're on 3 draw right there. So you can find this little tool that I'm using, this keyboard. Once you find out where it lays out, you'll just sustain the note. It's going to be a big part of what I want to do here with the group. You sustain these notes, we can work on breath control, long notes, and we can really try to see how well we can target these, especially these bends right here, these half-step bends. Okay, so now that you know what's going on, let's just look at the one draw. Don't overbend it. Here's what it sounds like when it's flat. I'm just flat of that note. I'm pulling too hard with my air. So here's what it sounds like corrected from, let's see. I don't know how well you can hear that, but let's see, let me turn up the volume. And the notes, if you hold the note on the app, it will eventually fade away, but it'll kind of sustain for a minute. So let's just do that note. We're looking at C sharp. And what I like to do is see, there's a couple things I'm looking for. I'm trying to make sure the pitch is correct, but I'm also trying to steady that note so it doesn't waver. So it sounds just real even. And that tells me that my muscle memory is really holding strong on that. So let's keep going. Let's just go to the F on the 2 full step. Now, if you cannot get to the note right out of the gates, we're talking about this note right here, F. Make your way down there from a draw. Here's what it sounds like overbent and flat. Hear how I'm flat on the note? And I think that this is probably more common than not. People are trying to attack the note, but they're just using a little bit too much air. So back to the, all right. I'm not used to using this keyboard. I don't practice with the keyboard as much as I should, or really ever. So let's do it together. And if you go up to your half step, that's the G, that's your 2 draw. And what I would do is take these 3 notes. I'm going to stop with the piano for a minute. But use that little app. But take these 3 notes at first and just get used to moving around like. One breath. You let your air out, get your breath again. And try to be a little musical with the timing of this. Da, 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 and keep moving. So you're going from G, F sharp to F, and then turn around and go F sharp to G. Another exercise I like to bring in is these slow releases so we can become familiar with the notes, these kind of microtonal bends that lie between the G and F sharp and the F sharp and F. And the only way that you can really sort of play around with these is to take more of this legato approach of releasing the slow legato of the bends from F. And I'm just trying to take the tongue in as slowly as I can let go of this note. So it's a whole separate exercise. And you could do the same thing on this, but I'll caution you that if you're new to bending, what you want to do is focus on minimal tongue movement. Especially if you're a pucker player, you're going to feel more of the focal point being the tongue. And what you will want to do, let me just stop this for a minute, is just have a minute and realize that most people are doing this with their tongue. They're moving it too quickly. So how are you going to avoid that? The best thing I can recommend is that you take a minute and try to see how slowly you can bend into the note from the 3 draw. And that's a slow down and then releasing it all in one breath. That's one way to become aware of where's my tongue really moving. Mine gets, for me, it's really like this sort of upward thing like that. So let's just take those notes for a second. Right on. Glad you got the amp. Hey, what's up, Dwayne? Everybody check out Dwayne's channel. Subscribe. He's a great blues harmonica player. Love your sound, man. Love what you're doing on your channel. keep putting out that music. All right. So, okay, back to this little chart just for a minute. Let's just do this methodically. A lot of people, let's focus in on the B flat. Okay, so let's start by going to... There it is. So if you look at a piano keyboard, the black key to the left of the B, and most people play this note flat. One thing you could do is sound the note on the app, then play it and repeat it. Sound it, play it. If you hear it flat like I just did, correct it. If I go like this, you might want to record yourself doing this. You can kind of play around with maybe double time in each note contained on the bends on the 3, the half step, B flat, A and A flat, and just play around with these notes. I really like the idea of mixing both the slow release of a bend, but then also targeting and staccatoing. So I'm using the tip of my tongue to separate the notes. And be careful, this note is often pushed a quarter step below. Where is that note? Listen to this. You're pushing, if you feel the note strain, likely you're using a little more air. So the goal is to become as accurate you can with the most gentle approach in your breath. And then you get super accurate, not only landing on the bends, but you develop speed and articulation with these bends. So I'm avoiding the overblows, just to be clear, because I'm not an overblow player other than an occasional 6 overblow. And I'm just playing around with a lot of chromatic movement when I get to that 2 full step on. And not necessarily even paying attention to playing it perfectly chromatically. I'm just trying to utilize the bends in a musical fashion. Like that. That's not chromatic, but it's a riff. And in fact, there's a Gary Primich song that we're going to grab on January 29th in the Gary Primich Riffs class, where he does this cool this kind of riff. And as soon as I heard it, I knew I wanted to bring that into the class, because this is the kind of thing that I would use, that kind of that 3-draw half step to 4-blow and beyond area. So yeah, and you can change. We're right in the middle, it looks like, of the keyboard here. Take the notes that are most troublesome for you, like if it's the 3-draw full step, then take a minute and just sustain that, and then start to apply some sort of melody or riff that you can practice that involves that riff. That way you can come back and really target that riff, or that note, sorry. Here's a riff. Primary notes in the bends are 3-draw half step bend, 3-draw full step bend, and 2 full step. There's the 3-draw half step, 2-draw, 3-draw full step. So let's just do that. And then 2-draw, and then 2-draw full step bend. 2 blow, One draw. You might want to just write that down, come back. And this little riff could be really helpful for the half step and the full step on the 3 and the 2 full step bend. You could sustain the notes to kind of even really get more of a workout. Same with the 4. We haven't talked about the 4, but you could take the 4 and learn to really release it. I think it's imperative if you want to learn to improvise on a high level to be able to take these notes that we're talking about today and move around them and into them in various ways. Slowly in or slowly from the bend, releasing it, either direction. Repeated releases, you know. And what's awesome is you really are sticking to that foundational, the breathing thing involving this slow release to get these sounds. You're having a minute where you're relaxing. When you do this, if you hold these notes, you start to relax, and I feel like it calms the mind to the point where you can start to gain muscle memory a little bit quicker because you're not so anxious to move and play around with that note. So stay away from vibrato. That's one suggestion. Leave it out. Just don't use any vibrato. And get creative. See how you can get creative with it. Somebody says they're still tongue blocking 6 through 10. Great. And puckering 1 through 3, nothing wrong with that. I mix it up. I know most players probably mix up the embouchure. Yeah. I think the key here is to make it fun. If the idea of sustaining these notes is not fun, keep it as a warm-up, especially if you consider yourself a beginner or beginner intermediate player. You've really got to connect, like I said, with like the 2 half-step bend. You want to be able to go right to the note. So if you take that note, you'll realize quickly that often when you go to it, you're going a little flat of it, maybe, let's say. I'm trying to play just slightly flat of it. And you've got to have a minute where you almost barely just adjust that tongue in a way that it's almost non-existent. The adjustment's so minor. So that's what's on my mind today. What's up, Donnie? I see you in the chat. What's going on, man? Guffey, Colorado in the house. Hope you're hanging in there, doing okay. If you want more information on this and want to go deeper into bending, including blow bending, check out the link, the comment I've pinned to the top of the chat, and go look at that product. It's designed for you if you haven't checked out the Bending Clinic. It comes with notes and a streaming and or downloadable Zoom link that you can check out from the class. All of this definitely, thanks for pointing that out, Hank, works as a tongue blocker or a pucker player. It's just a matter of becoming aware of what you're doing so you can replicate things quickly. What else do I want to tell you? I got some cool events. Like I mentioned, this Saturday I'm doing a streaming event. I'll stream it to, I think I'm streaming it to Facebook. I don't know if I said that early, whether it was Facebook or YouTube, but it'll be on my Facebook page most likely. So join me on my Facebook page at 3 p.m. on Saturday with the great Andrew Duncanson. We'll be playing some blues, and then I've got gigs coming up, so if you're not on my email list, check the video description later. I've got a social link to my last newsletter that just went out discussing some open events, like the PentaHarp webinar is coming up again this Sunday, 11 a.m. Central. It's an hour long. You just kick back and we talk about, review the basics of the PentaHarp and let you hear it a little bit. And that is going to be myself, and then the great Drew Lewis, the brand manager over at Hohner, is going to be there joining me. So I'm looking forward to it. All right. I hear you, Donald. Dwayne says, have you heard of the Shure Black Label? I have. Yeah, I've got one. You know, I have one. and they're supposed to be a somewhat of a holy grail. It does sound really cool. And it's not my favorite sounding element that I've ever had, but it's very coveted, and they're very expensive. I know that. Emilio, saludos. Michigan, cool. Checking in the house. All right, so let's do one more little quick exercise here. Let me go back to share this screen quickly. These are the notes you're going to focus on. You could do something like this. Let me just point to the notes I'm playing. I brought the vibrato. I said not to. But at least it was on the D. Not you can vibrato the notes that are not bends. You just don't want to try to change and shift around on these bends. Whoops. I went in the wrong order. Yeah, doing the pointing thing and playing at the same time is not my specialty. I get lost quick. I'm basically going to leave out overblows, and I can bring in the blow notes if I want, but keep in mind the 3 blows the same as the 2 draw, so you don't really need to play that. Of course, you could move this around and start to get creative with the blow bending, but I wasn't going to get into that today. I just wanted to hop on for a little bit and share something that brings back that breath control and has you focusing in on the area of the harmonica that's pretty much the most challenging thing you have to conquer, which is bending. And constantly understanding that you constantly have to work on it. You have to sit down if you want to keep your chops up. You got to work it often. So that's what I got today. I'm going to make sure there's no other questions that popped up. Appreciate you checking the stream out. Come hang with us Saturday. I'll update the video description with everything I was yapping about. Live events, free events that are live online. And the class coming up January 29th with Gary Primich. Some cool things happening. And that's what I got. So y'all make it a great day. Work on those long notes in the bends. Hope it's helpful to you. And I'll see you next time.